We're talking about everybody's favorite Star Wars movie, Star Wars Episode 1. I know you love that one. Don't lie to me, I know you love Star Wars Episode 1. It's your favorite one, isn't it, right? Alright, so as you might have gathered, we are talking about Star Wars Episode 1. And the reason I decided to do that is because I got all 6 Star Wars movies, 7 and 8 don't count for me right now. We'll see how Episode 9 goes. All 6 Star Wars movies, Blu-ray.
Just no.
Feels good to have this, I'm not gonna lie. And I just decided to watch the prequels again. And I watched Return of the Jedi. Just because, you know, growing up, because of, you know, especially when it comes to adults, the original trilogy is what tended to be watched. And not in my house. My parents couldn't give 2 little shits about Star Wars. I mean, when I went to other people's houses. So I just wanted to rewatch the prequels because that's kind of what I grew up with. I grew up with the original trilogy too, and I love the original trilogy, but the prequels were the movies that were kind of more recent for me and kind of what was coming out for me, if that makes sense. So I just decided to rewatch the prequels. So I've watched episode 1, 2, and 3 of the Blu-rays here, and I've watched episode 6. I've watched episode 4 and 5 more than enough times. So the rewatch of episode 1 actually gave me a lot of perspective. It actually made me realize that Star Wars Episode 1 does not deserve all the hate it gets. It's not a perfect Star Wars movie.
Oh, my favorite!
But if we're being 100% honest with ourselves, what Star Wars movie is a perfect Star Wars movie? The closest we get to a perfect Star Wars movie is Episode 5 and 3, in my opinion. You know, all the other Star Wars movies have a lot of the grievances that people have with Episode 1. You know, aside from the politics and Jar Jar Binks. But if we're talking cringy dialogue, if we're talking subpar acting, pretty much every Star Wars movie has that issue of cringy dialogue and subpar acting at times, right? And that was one of the big complaints about Star Wars Episode 1, when in my opinion, that is something that is in pretty much every Star Wars movie. It's just something that is part of a Star Wars movie, almost. I mean, hell, even episodes 3 and 5, which both have amazing acting in my opinion, with some blemishes here or there. The blemishes in episode 5 would come from Mark Hamill a couple times, although he's generally pretty solid, and the blemishes in episode 3 would come from Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman in their love scenes, but well, in one love scene, actually. Only one love scene. That love scene where they're, you know, on the porch in episode 3 and he's like, "You are so beautiful." And then, like all that shit. That was bad. But the rest of episode 3, I thought the acting was really good. Especially Ian McDiarmid and especially Ewan McGregor. So, when it comes to episode 1, I don't understand the hate. I mean, I'm just going to list off some of the things I loved about episode 1. You know, the one that everyone can agree on first, the pod race. Amazing sequence. Number 2, it really, now that I'm a bit more grown up, now that I'm nearly 21, the scene where Anakin has to leave his mother really got to me emotionally. Like, I was actually shedding tears, bro. That shit actually got to me. Another thing, the guy who plays, the kid who plays Anakin.
Oh, shit!
Yes, he wasn't completely perfect, right? But for a child actor, he was pretty damn good. He had a couple moments where he was a little bit... But for the most part, he was trying to carry one of the biggest franchises in the world on his back as a first-time child actor, and for that, he did not do too bad. Most of his lines were pretty good, or rather, most of his acting was pretty good, and he had like 2 moments in the movie. It was like, but that's like 2 moments. That's it. 2 moments. 2 moments out of the other countless lines that he had. Another reason I love Star Wars Episode 1. Qui-Gon Jinn. Now, not a lot of people, well, not a lot, but just the consensus I've heard, especially from original trilogy fanboys,
Don't kill me, please!
is that Qui-Gon Jinn is boring, you know, and I've never understood that. Even as a kid, I was kind of captivated by him and his dialogue. Just the way he talks about the Force, and just his demeanor, and also, plus, his fight scenes were awesome. Like, I just don't understand why people didn't like Qui-Gon. I mean, I see more love for Qui-Gon these days. Back then, I don't know why people didn't like Qui-Gon, really, because I loved his whole demeanor. Especially, you know, when Obi-Wan is talking to Qui-Gon on the terrace there by Coruscant at the Jedi Temple. And what does Obi-Wan say? He's like, if you would only stop defying the Council, you'd be a master already. or you'd be on the council already, something like that. And then Qui-Gon Jinn was like, I will do what I must, Obi-Wan. I really love that sort of shit. I really liked someone who would just do what he needed to do. It didn't matter if it went against the rules. He would follow the Force. I mean, I don't understand why that wasn't more appealing to more people. And just, yeah, I thought Qui-Gon was an amazing character in my opinion. I just loved Qui-Gon. I don't know what to tell you. He was one of the coolest Star Wars characters for me growing up. And on that same vein, the Duel of the Fates. Music and fight scene, absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Some people say it's too overly choreographed, but that's the point, right? Is that because the Jedi can kind of see things before they happen, it's like they're being guided exactly where to go, you know? That's how they even described it in the behind the scenes. That's kind of the vibe I always got as a kid, you know? That's one of the reasons why in episode 3, there's that part where they're like, but they're not hitting each other. It's because they're both being guided so well that they're actually kind of like faking each other out. It's really cool. I don't know why people think that's unnecessary. It just shows their prowess and how neither of them can kind of trick the other for that, like, for those 2 seconds where they're going boo, 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 boo. But anyway, that's episode 3, not episode 1. And then let's get to Jar Jar Binks. Now, yes, I know a lot of people don't like Jar Jar Binks, and I must say there are times where he overstays his welcome a little bit. Like there's only really one Jar Jar scene that properly annoys me, and it's after they get the guns from the droids near the start of the movie. He says some stupid line, I forget what it was, okay? But for the rest of the movie, maybe because I grew up with Jar Jar, and remember, Jar Jar was there for the kids. So when I was a child, I found Jar Jar funny as shit. I loved Jar Jar as a child, man. I thought he was so hilarious, you know? And then all this bashing about him came out online, and I was like, oh shit, people hate Jar Jar. And then I tried to hate Jar Jar, and I did for a little bit, you know? And then I rewatched episode 1, and I was like, wait, besides like 1 or 2 lines here, Jar Jar's pretty funny to me still, just because of how I grew up with him, I guess. And when you really look at it from the lens of this character is for the kids, you know, this character is for the kids, then I can really respect it a hell of a lot more, you know, and then I can kind of see the angle a hell of a lot more, and I actually enjoy Jar Jar, especially in the final fight. All the scenes where Jar Jar is kind of killing droids with blind luck, I'm sorry, that is gold. I love it. I absolutely love it. Maybe because I grew up with it, but for me, that was just perfect. It was so funny when I was a kid, and it's less funny now, but I still find it funny. It's great. I like it. Okay, what can I say? Jar Jar, he wouldn't have been the best fit for episodes 2 and 3, but I think he fits right in there for episode 1. He has his couple moments of eye roll, but overall, I like Jar Jar. I'll just go out and say it, bro. Plus, he is a secret Sith Lord. He's basically Palpatine's master, so of course he's going to try and seem dumb, but actually carry out his plan. You know, thin down the droid forces, right? So that it's easier to get rid of the Separatists by the time episode 3 comes around. See, that's what a lot of people don't appreciate. Okay. Anyway. Point is, man. Oh, and also, the person who plays Shmi Skywalker, great actress. I think she's the main reason why those scenes where Anakin had to leave his mother, I think she's the main reason why I found those so emotional, because her acting was... She was probably one of the best actors in the whole movie, you know? I mean, of course, Ewan McGregor, Liam Neeson, all of them did a good job, but I think she was actually... She's pretty underrated. Her acting was really, really good when you think about it. You know, and the politics was, I honestly, I think Star Wars Episode 1 is one of the reasons why I like politics, or why I'm interested in politics. Maybe that's what put that seed in me as a child. Who knows? I will admit, it is a little bit on the left field how long they spend on politics. It's like 10 minutes of politics stuff. It is a bit much, but you know, that's just how it is. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about Star Wars Episode 1. This is a fairly low maintenance video, but I just realized that we had so much negativity on the channel recently, talking about The Rise of Skywalker, talking about The Last Jedi all the time. And I want to talk about something positive. I want to talk about a movie that I love, that a lot of people give a lot of flack. Yes, it's not a perfect Star Wars movie, but what Star Wars movie is perfect? Episode 5 and Episode 3 get the closest, but if you think about it, every other Star Wars movie has a blemish. Just like Episode 1 has a couple blemishes, you know? I mean, I think the hate that Episode 1 gets is so unfair compared to, like, when you look at the other Star Wars movies that exist. You know, if you compare Episode 1, Episode 4, Episode 6, Episode 2, I think Episode 1 is... I don't know, man. Yes, Episode 1 has its issues. There's a couple rocky CGI things there. But come on, that's in the original trilogy too, you know? I'm not talking about the special edition stuff. Sometimes in the original trilogy, you can tell the effects are bad. I mean, the practical effects are great, but sometimes they just don't hold up, you know? Sometimes some of the effects in Episode 1 don't hold up because it's an old movie now. Basically 20-year-old movie now. I'm sorry, it's just how it is. Like, you can't ignore the fact that the effects don't hold up in the original trilogy at times and then go and rag on it on Episode 1. It makes absolutely no sense at all to do that. Let me know what you thought about Star Wars Episode 1 in the comments below. Maybe rewatch it, look at it through my angle. See ya. See ya.
We still gonna go to my sex dungeon.
Come on, dude, come on. No! Suck my dick. What if I said that you're getting poisoned today? Now I can hopefully just wait for him to bleed out, yeah? Ah! Finally! Damn! It's like 2 hours!